father actually died of gas poisoning. I think, you know, these people deserve the respect.
I want to show you the grave of the ATCHISON family here at the Undercliff Cemetery in Bradford. Now, the unusual thing about the grave is that it mentions two brothers who were in the military are not actually buried here. They're buried in France and Belgium. So shortly I'm going to meet Graham the gravedigger and a couple of volunteers from the cemetery who will renovate the grave because the actual tombstone has fallen over. And Graham, being Graham, will actually take you guys all the way to France and Belgium and show you the resting place of the two brothers. So as you can imagine, a lot of work has been put into this video, and we'd really appreciate it if you could like, comment and share. It helps the actual channel and the awareness of the subject. And as you can see, it's quite uneven here. A lot of gravestones have collapsed. This is the grave of the ATCHISON family. Amongst the other members of the family, we have the two brothers that are mentioned here. Ralph Graham Atchison, who died on the 21st of July 1917 at the age of 25. Harold Vivian Atchison, who died on the 26th of August 1918 at the age of 34.
So we're looking at this one here. Let's have a look at this. And you know this is a war grave, don't you? He died in Ypres and he was killed in action, and so these are two brothers by the looks of it, and he's died in 𝗤𝗏 in the Somme in 1918. So what we need to do, we need to highlight this to see, so we can really read it. I think we can read that a little bit better now. So I think what we'd be better doing here is we'd be actually better going to Ypres and going to 𝗤𝗏 to actually see the graves herself.
Yeah.
You know, I think, you know, these people deserve the respect of that. I know it's a big task, but I think we need to do that. In the meantime, I think you'll need to do some research on who's in the grave.
Yeah.
All about Harold, Vivian and Ralph Graham. And also we need to know who else is in the grave.
Yeah.
What we also need to do, we'll have to bring the digger round, you know, the machine round. But I think what we have to do is find out a track so we're not running over the borders.
And of course, once it's all flattened off, it makes it easier for us to trim the area and even mow it, you know, if we can get a mower in.
Okay, you got the pins?
I've got pins, yeah. You're pinning it?
Yeah. We'll drill into this here. Okay, we'll drill one there, and one there, and also onto that there. So we'll just put that down at the moment.
Extremely expensive with being stainless steel.
No.
And it's very kind of people to donate them, which means we can put these monuments back by pinning them. And once they're pinned, they are safe, and hopefully won't be in a position to topple over again and can be preserved in the cemetery.
Yeah, what we're doing now, we're going to have to dowel these. So at one time, if you have a look, the cross is being put on the top with no dowels whatsoever. This is probably the same, so I think what we'll do is we'll drill through and put a longer drill bit along the piecing, so this is attached to this. Okay, we'll probably later on stitch this one onto there, which that should hold everything up. But first and foremost, we need 3 of these in. I know it's probably lasted a lot of years without them, but you know, that's regulations at the moment. So originally, when they've lowered these down, they've lowered these, so this pin here, this mould, this hole here, is for a Lewis. So basically the Lewis went in, you braid a pin in, and it opened up in there, so this swung around. Obviously we've got hydraulic stuff now, but that was in the olden days. So I think the father, the mother,
and a young child what died in infancy.
Okay, he's in the grave.
He's buried in the grave.
And the father, because Chris has been researching all this, the father actually died of gas poisoning by a former gas lamp which were leaking. So in them days, the gas were actually poisonous. In this day and age, you know, because that were coal gas, and obviously it's Townsmain's gas, and it's only poisonous through if it's not burnt properly. But before it was poisonous, whatever happened. At one time, you can just make out the gold, you know, and it's all been gold leafed at one time. So the family who purchased this grave, I believe, were quite wealthy. I think they had cloth manufacturers down Drake Street.
Yep.
So the father was in partnership with the mother's brother. We'll drill this in next, there, okay? Perfect.
Just done it on a tip.
Well, there we are. We're setting off on our epic journey, and we're hoping to find the graves of Ralph Graham Aitchison and Harold Vivian Aitchison. We're hoping to, one's buried in Belgium and one's buried in the Somme in France.
1914 to 1918 saw the first industrialised conflict that mankind ever inflicted upon itself. The Great War, as it was known, was an event so terrible in terms of lives sacrificed that it quickly was renamed the War to End All Wars. Quite simply, out-of-date 19th century warfare tactics came up against 20th century industrialised, mechanised weaponry, with the predictable outcome of a widespread slaughter, a slaughter of a generation of men across Europe and beyond. The records estimate that 20 million people died, 10 million military, 10 million civilians, and a further 20 million were injured. Both sides dug in. Trench warfare ensued, and hundreds of thousands of men were lost over 4 years for mere metres of gains and losses. The two great theatres of war on the Western Front for Britain were in Ypres, in Belgium, with a strong British Empire defending force, and the Somme in northern France.
So this is Canada Farm, going to find Ralph Graham Aitchison. And I think there's about 980 bodies in here over a period of 12 months, I think. It's 21st of July 1917. September 18. September 18. Right, now we're on this way from Ypres to the Somme to find the Harold Vivian grave.
The casualty rates were horrendous, 60, 70, even 80%, and the PALS regiment serving together went over the top together and died together. British casualties lay at rest along the northern parts of the Western Front. In particular, the British and our colonial brothers were heavily lost around Ypres, in Flanders, holding Germany at bay for 4 years, and extensively around the Somme.
Okay, this is the cemetery where Harold is, and if I remember rightly, it's at the back.
So I'm back at the Undercliff Cemetery here. I'm going to meet Graham and I'm going to have a look at the gravesite of the two brothers, because he's been working on the site since he's been back from the trip. I'd like to give a big thank you to 𝗤𝗥𝗔𝗃𝗃. He's the former teacher, head of history at the Bradford Grammar School. Now he went out his way and put a couple of obituaries together for the two brothers for this video. I shall link that document in the description. So here are the volunteers of the Undercliff Cemetery, and I can see Graham finishing off this area and also working on the grave of the two brothers. Welcome back, Graham.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, just a quick word. How did you feel when you saw the two graves of the brothers?
Well, it was very, very sad. What we've got to also understand is that this grave itself is full of tragedy. First and foremost, we've got the father who died of gas poisoning in January 1914. The mother died in July 1917. Ralph Graham died on July the 21st, 1917, which is 2 weeks after the mother. And the two brothers actually went to Bradford Grammar School, so they were a very educated family. You know, it was a business family. A lot of people have lost their jobs because of all this. And finally, Harold Vivian died 1.5 years after his brother. Very tragic times.